I found common in both of my jobs, both in the winter and in the summer, it's that I really like to make my guests, my clients, to experience what I really like and in the way I like it. So let's say I have someone to bring, we're going to ski on a slope, and maybe I will try to make them discover the fresh snow, as I really like to ski off piste, and I try to transfer my passion for for the old environment, for the mountains around, for the fresh snow. And same it happens on the boat. So what we do in the vertical sailing tour is that we explore with the boat the coastline, and instead of just having a regular cruise, what I really like is to get on land and to explore and being able to find new places and find adventures with trekking and climbing. And so this is what we do with vertical sailing tour, and what I would like to make you experience if you would come with me. And regarding Sardinia, I've been there already I've been traveling there for the past 20 years since I was a kid. And so we quite have a good knowledge of the territory over there. But vertical sailing tour, it's not only me. It's actually me, which on board, I am the skipper. And then we have our lovely mountain guide. Here's Alberto, the one with the blue t-shirt. And here with our guest, Marco. We are actually in the north, Sardinia. You can see our boat more down there. And in this case, Alberto, it's at the top of a route that you will see later on, and he's preparing to descend. Alberto is a mountain guide, has been a mountain guide for almost 15 years now. And he's been traveling all over the world. So he really made lots of experience. He was at the top of Cerro Torre. Sardinia. So he, our mountain guide for the land activities on the Sardinia tour. Let's see what we will be covering tonight. So I will do a brief introduction of why it's beautiful, what's really special about it through our climber point. Why we think the sailing and climbing is actually the best combo. And
Lorenzo, I think it disconnected and you're muted. Can we try again? So just unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, we had a little inconvenience. Okay, so here are the points that we will be covering, and so I was at the point 4. I will explain you some highlights of the climbing spots that we will be going through, and then some logistic, and finishing with the Q&A. So, what Italians say about Sardinia? We have this saying in Italy: you don't need to travel all the way to the Caribbean, you just need to go to Sardinia. And that's actually very true, because I was lucky enough to be a few times to the Caribbean. I was in Cuba, Colombia, Dominican Republic, and actually I can tell you Sardinia is nothing to invite to it. And here you can see why. This is one of the stops we'll be making, and it's Cala, and you can see how how really like Sardinia has a beautiful sea. But if you are if you focus, you can already see that it's not only a beautiful sea, but there's something around. So maybe you can start notice the quality of the rock which is around. And we have lots of rock actually. And here you can see miles and miles of rock. That's on the east coast of Sardinia. It's where we like to do our tours. And so these are our guests actually going along one of the most famous wild trekkings in Europe, which is called the Selvaggio Blu. And it's something that we also do through the climbing days. And anyhow, here we have at the top left of the picture, Punta Giradili, which is like 500 meters of perfect limestone with some of the most beautiful multi-pitch routes in Europe. And just to give you an idea on how much rock we have in Sardinia, we can also see this other picture taken at sunset. So this picture here is actually miles north from the other picture. So that's just the east coast of Sardinia, which it's keep goes and going on with lots of possible climbs to do. Actually, just to give you some dates in Sardinia, in Sardinia, we have up to 6,000 bolted single pitch routes and almost 1,000 multi-pitch routes. And of course, that's what's on top, and that's what you get at the bottom. So really here we are at the Caribbean level with these beautiful emerald blue waters of Sardinia. So let's get into climbing perspective, and let's talk a little bit about the rock that we will encounter during the tour and some peculiarities of this island. So here you see what we find in the north of Sardinia. So that's actually granite, and it's very, very, very special granite because it has been shaped by the wind, and so it comes with all these crazy shapes. That's our guest Marta bouldering. Here there's a part of the crew during one tour of ours. Our guide Alberto to the left, me to the right, and we are actually in front of Corsica here, so extreme north of Sardinia. There's a channel between the two islands, Corsica and Sardinia, where really the wind picks up, and here it's able to shape and create this amazing scenario. So as you can see here, there's Alberto leading the route with our guest Marco after, and that's actually like a 120-meter route, something like that, trad climbing. And this place is called Capotesta, and it's really, really, really unique. I can keep returning to this place, and it's just amazing. And once again, another example, like literally something like that I've only seen it in Seychelles and nowhere else in the world. So you can use your imagination to picture any sort of animal in here. And so this is actually what we find in the north, but as we start to go south, the rocks changes. And so as we go south, we start to get into limestone. That's actually a via ferrata through the Selvaggio Blu, which is the trekking I was telling you about. So this is the piece of coast that we will cover by sailing. And so our boat will be basically just at the bottom of this cliff. And here are a guest of ours that it's actually going through here through these amazing valleys. And again, limestone, the southern you go, the more it changes. Here we can see a beautiful example of tufa climbing. So really, again, it's the limestone has been shaped by the wind, by the water, the salt, and you go into this cave, which is amazing. It's called Millenium Cave. I will show you some picture later on about it. And that's our pro climber Federica that was invited to the tour. And I remember taking this picture. So there was lots of organization going on. We had a professional photographer, which actually was hanging in the middle of the cave. And so our another skipper sailing. So that's actually our boat. And so we made everything to get the two subjects, the climber and the boat, into the picture. And again, as you move south, you can encounter a different type of limestone. You can see it's much more compact. You got nice little pockets, cracks into it. And again, here's our guest. I believe she's Elisa, and our dinghy down there, and this beautiful multi-pitch climb, right? Basically, you start from the beach. And then if you would go even souther, sometimes you encounter basalt. So here we have our happy guests, again, in a scenario which looks like Seychelles, but it's actually in the center of Europe. So let me tell you something more about what we will find in Sardinia as a culture and the relation that we have with the locals. So I really like this picture because there was the whole crew here doing some bouldering, and I choose this picture because it's actually at a walking distance from a prehistoric site. Actually here, I give you some data again, like in Sardinia, the few inhabitants were discovered to be like 100,000 years ago. And then Sardinia as an island, because it was at the center of the Mediterranean, went through lots of colonizations. So it was colonized by the Byzantines at the beginning, then by the Carthaginians, by Romans, Aragonese, and all these cultures actually blend together, and you can really see this blend of the cultures once you get in touch with the locals, because you discover that through the different musics, different dishes that you will eat, which are a mix of these cultures, with the architecture, dances, and so here's a local. You see, we always leave something to them. So he's preparing a nice barbecue for us. And another guest that was really, another local that was really so kind to give us a ride from East Taverna. We were actually two boats here, and we managed to fit all of us on our pickup. Another taverna, so we always leave some flags, some present to them, and we would like to go back, and they really welcome us every time very nicely. So sailing and climbing, the best combo. So as you can see, that's me again. I was quite in a rush, so I choose this picture because I just came on board. We had to move the boat until we had some sunlight, and you can see I'm still wearing my harness and chalk bag and La Sportiva shoes, so not really a sailor outfit. So why is it the best combo? It's a nice combo because actually allows us to access to places otherwise inaccessible, because yes, some cracks by the sea are accessible also by land, but sometimes the path is very long, it's complicated, but other cracks are literally inaccessible by land. So some of the cracks where we will go and some routes are only accessible by the boat. And so this is a great advantage. So no one else will go there, at least he has a boat, and not many people can afford it. And we know where to go. And so here you can see that's Mark from Switzerland, and you can see our boat below. So this is a good example of an inaccessible route which becomes accessible for us. I really like to say that the boat, it's our moving base camp, because really acts like a base camp. It's a place where we go back, we can rest, we sleep there, we cook, and then we move it where we need it. We just need to drop the anchor, and so that allows us for an absolute freedom. We just choose where to go, we drop the anchor, and there we have our base camp where to start the next adventure from. And last but not least, in order to move this base camp, we can do it just by channeling the power of the nature. So we channel the wind through our sails, and so we can move really efficiently and ecologically along the shore. That's the same guy, Mark, and he's rappelling down the route that you see below. And again, here you see the best example of what we actually do at the vertical sailing tour. So we sail, and then when we approach the piece of shore where we would like to climb, we disembark with the dinghy. You see the dinghy more right there. And right now, Mark is rappelling after is at the very last meter of the rappel after the route. And so we will get on the dinghy and get back on board. And another picture to show you that sometimes the thing that this picture was taken with a GoPro, so with a wide angle, so the boat really looked far away, but that's like literally swimming distance, and that's a morning climb that we are doing from boat, basically. So we climb, but we also sail. And so here I will explain you what maybe many of you are climbers. They have never been on a sailing boat, and so there's nothing to worry about it. There's a professional skipper, most of the time that's me. And so I will be in charge of the sailing, so you will be safe on board. And you, if you are interested, I'm more than welcome to teach you and provide you with give you all the knowledge that I have. So by the end of the week, you can become get a good knowledge of sailing, to know how to operate the sails, know how to steer the boat. And so in this picture you see, I remember this guy, he was called Gianpaolo. He got really into steering the boat, and at the end of the week he became very good. So that's a picture of us together. And you can see I'm sitting beside him and teaching how to maneuver the boat, while the other rest of the crew one was dealing with the front sail, one was dealing with the back sail, and so that's how it works on board. And then we don't forget our precious weapon to conquer the land. So that's going to be the dinghy that we always drag while we sail, and we will use the dinghy to disembark. So in this picture, you cannot see our boat because it's covered by this boulder. So we drop the anchor, and then the dinghy, we put our gear onto the dinghy, we get onto the dinghy, and then we reach the shore with it. So it's something you will get familiar with during the tour. So where we will go? Usually the course that we choose, it's from Olbia. I will explain you later what it is. We start to go south, and the first day we stop at the Tavolara Island, which is an amazing island where we do a via ferrata over there. So just to warm up for the climbing. I don't have pictures of Tavolara, but the second stop, it's gonna be Cala. So that's Fabio in the front of the boat, and he's waiting for my signal to drop the anchor. So we will drop the anchor in front of the beach here. You can see a tiny beach. It's actually not tiny, it looks tiny. And so the first crags are right on the beach. And then here in Calafuili, we have a long canyon, which goes inland for almost 2 kilometers. And you find sport climbing, single pitches routes on both on the right side and on the left side. So you have hundreds of routes inside this canyon for every level of climbers. And so you can see Eugenia, she's climbing here at the beach sector, the beach below. And if you start to walk, you enter into the valley with all the climbs. Then if we move south, we arrive to Cala Luna. Cala Luna is this amazing location where you find all these caves right on the beach. And as it says here, you don't even need to put your approach shoes. You just literally disembark by the dinghy, and bare feet you reach the crag. By the way, with an amazing quality rock, again limestone, and you start to climb. And between one climb and the other, if you want to refresh, you just go for it. That was Christina. She was from Austria, and you can see actually the perfect quality of the limestone that she's climbing on. That was inside the cave. So if we move farther south, that's again a piece of the trekking that we can do here and there, of the Selvaggio Blue, the trekking I was telling you about. And we can see at the bottom this nice spur which comes up, and that's actually the Aguglia di Cala Goloritze. And that's something really, really, really unique. You can see our dinghy, it looks like it's floating on the water, like if there's no water, because it's so transparent. And over here onto this sea stack, we have 12 routes starting from 6A, and it's really an achievement if we can reach it and climb it. That would be one of the highlights of the week for sure. And then if we move south, we find another amazing spot. This one is called Pedralonga, and it has 14 routes on it. And actually here it's super easy. The starting level, it's really affordable for everybody to start to climb on it, because it starts from 4C, which is 5.7. And then you have climbs that get harder. So what we do, again, we drop the anchor in front of it. We disembark with the dinghy on the beach. By the way, the beach is just on the other side, and there are up to 20 routes right on the beach where you can climb on, and then we will go around it. And then if you want to do some multi-pitch routes, then you will have a view like that. So I think the trip is really worth it just for bringing home a picture like that. It's something unusual and really, really fun to be able to get into this type of situation.
This, Lorenzo, looks like a mega bucket list thing you have to do. Like I'm checking this as a climber. It's like you just want to be there and
Yes,
experience.
yes.
Amazing.
That's why actually Sardinia is one of the climbing meccas in Europe. As I told you, with up to 7,000 routes, it's and with this quality, you need to go there at least once. If you are a climber, you need to go there. And but we will bring you, okay? If you want to join us on board, it's always
for sure.
The invitation is open.
Thank you.
Again, this is how it looks from just to the side. You actually see basically this. It's probably the second pitch. So the first one, you literally are basically at the water level. And then another amazing spot, it's Millenium Cave. So it's when I was showing you the limestone with all the tufas, here we are. And you have this nice forest which comes up by the sea. Then you have like a beach inside the cave, it's all sandy. And once you get into, you see something like that. So again, like thousands of tufas and really lots of roots over here. Hard ones at the edges of the caves. And so something that looks, I'll give you maybe a few more seconds to look at this one because it's one of my favorite pictures. And just, to walk and to enter here, it's something amazing.
Can you tell us if there are easier routes? Because it does look hard, as a climber looking at this, you have to be quite fit for what you see. So maybe you can...
So we have inside the cave, routes starting from 6B, actually, at the edges. And I will get there shortly. So here it's she was a pro climber, so she knew the deal, and we took these beautiful pictures on the 7B at the edge of the cave. And here again, like our boat, it's actually us and Federica rappelling at the end of the climb. So, but if you get to the side of the cave, you actually find also some easy pitches. So you can see here, it's a really easy pitch, but picture yourself, that's me belaying. And on the right side, I have the sea, but if I look to the left, something we cannot see right now, I'm actually looking into the Millenium Cave, and there's this huge cave surrounding me. And so you can really climb at the edge of the cave and getting the feeling of being inside the tufas. And then, so these were the spots that I hope to bring you to, where we will go in October. And let's not forget Deepwater Solo, because we are on the boat, so every piece of rock, it's if it looks safe, if we the depth, it's good, the rock quality is good, and it's a little bit overhanging or just vertical, so it's safe. We can just drop our anchor and go and have fun and find some lines which have never been climbed before. And so Deepwater Solo is something that maybe not all of you could have tried it before, but if you are on board, for sure we will. How do we live on board? So here you see lots of happy people, because that was after the climbing. So we try to stay sober and fresh for the climbs. We need to commit, to be focused, otherwise the guide Alberto will wants us to be focused, but then we also have fun a little bit. So here's the crew. We are sailing all together, and I would like to tell you something more of what it means to be a crew. So since we got on board, we are a crew all together. It means that everything that we will do it together. And let's say we want to prepare dinner. So someone will start to prepare an aperitif. While someone is doing the aperitif, someone else maybe is cutting the groceries. Someone will cook, and who relaxed, who during the whole dinner maybe will wash the dishes at the end. So this is how it works, and it works for when we eat, for when we need to get on land with the dinghy, embark in the dinghy, disembark. So everybody helps, passing the gear, loading the dinghy, unloading the dinghy, or I will say, okay, now we sail, let's reset the boat, and everybody will do his little job on board. And if everybody does something, then everything, like the whole crew really becomes efficient, and you will feel actually a part of the crew, because what we are doing it together. So I cannot put up the sails by myself. I will need your help, and I will teach you how to do it, and then together we will be sailing. So this is what means for me being a crew. So here we are sailing. So we are I'm talking about the life on board right now. So you can see here we're sailing. Someone will be steering, someone will be dealing with the sails, and of course we always have a fishing rod dragging something at the back of the boat, because fishing is another passion that we have. And so you can see on the right side, I just caught an octopus, and we will have a lovely salad in the evening with octopus. And at the left, you could see Fabio. So when this picture was taken, it was a very, very special day. It was actually in October, because September and October are the best months to fish tunas in Sardinia. And what happened is that during that day, we caught so many small tunas and other fishes like ricciolas, and I forgot the translation in English, but it's really tasty, trust me. And we caught actually so many that at the evening, what we did is we went to a restaurant. We gave all the fishes to the restaurant, and so half of the fishes we eat them. So they cook it for us. We only had to pay the drinks. That was the deal, and they could keep the other half of the fishes for the guests. So that was really a nice day. And here you see on board we are having the tuna that we caught, just like tuna tataki, you just roast it on the sides, and then you have with the lemon sauce or soya sauce. And it's amazing to be able to eat something that you caught like 1 hour before, super fresh, super tasty. A nice pictures of the aperitif that one of our guests prepared. She was really good at like carving the melon and stuff. And of course, like that picture is at the sunset after a climbing day. We just chill. You see by the in the shade of the sails, and we are sailing to the place where we will spend the night. We like to have fun on board, of course. So there's not only climbing and sailing. So during this trip, a friend of us brought his wakeboard, and we just attach it to the boat, and there he is like doing some wakeboard, and then everybody tried it too. So we had some fun in this way, and sometimes we get even more crazy, and we do the Jesus walk. So this this game is actually consists in tying the ropes. Here we were 2 boats. So one sailing beside the other. We tie the ropes to the masts. They are connected, And so the guy is actually dragged into the sea. And then as we move apart, he becomes Jesus, because he starts to walk on the water, as you see. And eventually, as the boats get farther apart, here you see she was Agnes from Poland. She got quite high, and then she just releases, and she jumps into the sea. And all the other ones just taking the pictures at the side. And when night arrives, then we like to put some music. That was Mike. He found the captain hat and he put it on, and he was putting some music. Girls were preparing the spritz over here. And if you look at the bottom right picture, you get a nice idea on how the space on board is. So that's the table where we'll be eating outside, and we like to eat outside just by the stars. Everybody sits around, there are benches for everybody. So we cook our food and then we eat outside over there. Really nice. And then if the dinner goes on and we got really happy, we get into the vertical sailing tour Olympics. So what we do, we split the crew in 2 or 3 small other crews, and we time how long it takes for them to row around the boat, and let's see whoever can win. And when we sleep at night, it looks something like that. So Alex, our professional photographer that joined us, he made this amazing picture. So he got onto the beach and he shoot this picture. So there are actually our 2 boats moored over there, and you can see really the pictures how you see it by naked eye. So all the Milky Way, and this is how we spend the night. So that's pretty much what we do during our tours. And now I get into the logistic for the Sardinia tour, which is going to happen from the 2 to the 9 of October. And first of all, where is Sardinia? It's at the center of the Mediterranean. You can see the dot over there. And it's very easily accessible from all the main cities on the coast, at least of Italy, I believe also from France or Spain. So from Genova, Savona, every other city in Tuscany, close to Rome. So wherever, if you're traveling already in Italy, you can easily access it by ferry, or the ferry goes to Olbia, or Olbia is also an international airport. So wherever you are flying from, you can find the planes landing in Olbia, and from there you just jump on a bus, 40 minutes ride, or a taxi even faster, 20 minutes, and you will reach Portisco, which is the marina where the boat will be, and the meeting is going to be on board. So you will find the pier with our boat, look for our flags, you arrive, and we do the check-in. We prepare the boat, we do the shopping, we prepare the boat for the week. After all our equipment, our stuff is stored away, if everybody's on board, there are no delays, we can already start and sail out on the first night and go to sleep in a nice bay by the stars, and be ready to take over the climbs on the next day. What gear will you need? So you should bring with you your personal climbing gear. So we ask you to bring your harness, your helmet, your climbing shoes, and your chalk bag. Then ropes and quick draws are highly recommended. If you don't have them, because maybe you've just started to climb, or maybe you are traveling a lot before or after the trip, and it's becomes too bulky to carry with you, If there's only like 1 or 2 people that cannot bring it with you, you just tell us, and our guide Alberto will bring a rope and some quick draws for you. Then you just need a backpack for daily activities, some hiking shoes, so not flip-flops or sandals, guys, please. The rock would be very sharp. And remember, it's can be really hot during the day, but can be also cold, maybe with a little breeze at night. So bring just a warm pullover, some waterproof clothes, a jacket is fine enough, a pair of long pants, a pair of short ones, and then you will be just living in your bathing suit. And how do the boats that we sail on look like? So this picture was actually, this was an entire crew from US. They all came, they were friends together, and they booked this because it was a birthday of one of these guys. And so you can see that the boat is actually quite big. That's just the boat. So we use sailing boats always, which can be monohull, which means that it's a standard boat, or a catamaran with 2 hulls. And boats are quite long, are from 45 to 55 feet. And usually there are from 4 to 5 cabins. Every cabin is for 2 people. And the beds could be a double bed or a bunk bed. So we will sort it out. Maybe, there are couples that will get the double beds. There are single travelers. They prefer to sleep on the bunk bed. So there will be alternatives for everybody. 2 to 4 toilets, very spacious living room inside, big table, benches. You get the oven, you get 2 fridges. So really comfortable boats to stay on, well equipped. Skills and level requested. So you don't need any particular skill, neither for climbing, neither for sailing. So first climber, first time sailors are welcome. And you just need to be like in a good physical shape. And if you are already a professional, that's better. But it's good for you, but we welcome everybody. So our guide Alberto, it's there to supervise the climbing, so if you are already an experienced climber, you can climb independently. He will just supervise you. And if you are a first-time climber, he will teach you all the technique, the safety, the maneuvers, the knots, how to set the anchors. And so Alberto is very, very polite, and he has lots of really knows the best tricks from his job. So even if you are an experienced climber, for sure, like having someone like him that can it's a good plus of the week, having a guy with such a lot of experience providing you precious tips. And so again, my responsibility when we are on sea, I will teach you everything, and Alberto will teach you everything on land. So we're pretty much done. So I hope you enjoyed the talk, and then you are ready to join us. And so here it's all of us sailing at sunset. Amazing. We also saw dolphins on that day, just right after the picture. It was really good. Here we are on the catamaran. You can see it's quite wide. Anyhow, I won't steal any more of your precious time. Here you can get some data of the trip. And I'm done with the presentation. I just want to thank again 57 Hour for hosting this webinar. And remind you that if you want to follow us or get some more informations, there's also our website, and there's the Facebook channel and the Instagram channel, where you will see many more pictures if you're interested in the tours. And don't forget also, if you search for a YouTube video which is called Sail and Climb, it's actually from Kalymnos, Sail and Climb Kalymnos, you will get an idea on even better on how a tour works. And that was our first video that we did, and we're hoping to make the next one in Sardinia or into Amalfi Coast, in our other destinations. So thank you for joining us, and let's go for the Q&A.
Thank you, Lorenzo, for the great presentation. You know, as a climber, I have to say I loved it, especially some spots are like unbelievable. But also, you know, even as a non-climber, it's a very visually appealing trip, if I can call it like that. You know, even just looking at these beautiful places, it's a privilege to go there. So thank you very much for sharing this story with us. I also have to thank Afar for co-promoting this event and bringing people in. And as Lorenzo said, you can, I think Maya already shared the link to the adventure. You can check and book this in 57 hours. Somebody did ask about group sizes, and the answer is here. So it's 9 people on the boat. It's $600 or €500 to deposit to secure a spot. And if you have any questions for Lorenzo, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll connect you with him to resolve any details. But as you already said, first-time climbers and first-time sailors, welcome. And I think that's great. And I will actually open with the first question that we need to address in these times. And that is, are there any special COVID procedures or restrictions when coming to Sardinia?
There are not restrictions right now. You know, during this time, everything changes very fast, but we are updated, and if there are going to be any changes, we'll let you know. We just ask for a test or a vaccination. So if you come on board, we'll ask for the guests to provide a test, so we know we are in a safe environment, and then we can just enjoy the week in a safe manner. But for now, until now, there are no restrictions to travel to Sardinia. Perfect.
I think that is great. And we also have some questions about your other. Do you have any other dates in the schedule, or for this season, and when will they be available for next season?
Yeah, actually, it's Sardinia 2 to 9 October. It's one of our last tours, because the other ones are already fully booked. We will be in September in Kalymnos, and so if there are gonna still be requests, we are already collecting some of them for the Amalfi Coast, and then which is going to be in October, but otherwise we are starting to do the tours again from next May.
Cool. And Harold and Jeanette are asking, is there anything in the second part of August or early September? And I know that you have a Kalymnos tour that's fully booked, right, in September?
Yes. Right now, yes, it's fully booked, and depends. Sometimes we can do like 2 boats. It's something very fun to do it. So we already closed a crew. So there's a complete crew. If we get enough interest, we can probably do a second boat. So it's going to be a tour with 2 boats, 2 skippers, 2 mountain guides, and 2 crews sailing together. And so it depends. If many of you get interested, it's something that we could do.
And the groups are always 9 people. I mean, do you have like a minimum amount of people that needs to go on the trip?
Yes, usually it's from 6 is the minimum, and sometimes we can be up to 10. Here we say 9 because with the boat it's 9. If we have lots of requests, like in Kalimnos right now, then we go for a catamaran. So it's even more spacious, bigger, and so we can have up to 10 guests, plus, of course, the skipper and the mountain guide.
Cool. And then we had a question about the brand of and model of sailboat that you use. Do you have a specific that you use, or is different every year?
Every year it's different. We are in contact with the local charterers, so they provide us the boat, so we know we have good quality boats. They can be Beneteau, so Jeannot Beneteau, Oceanis, Bavaria. Sometimes we have like more sporty boats like Azure 46 or the catamarans. Usually catamarans are the lagoons 42, lagoons 44. So yeah, usually Bavaria, Oceanis, these are the kind of boats that we use. And as I was saying, they are from usually around 50 feet or more, because we like to have space to like store all our gear, and so it's very comfortable boats.
Nice. And do you have like so this trip is running October 2nd to 9th. Do you have the last date when you can apply for this trip? What's the deadline?
Usually we finish the places earlier than any deadline. So no, the answer it's not really, but we should be able to really, like, by the first week of September to have the group. To have the group, yeah.
And how many spaces do you have left for this tour?
Right now we have 6 places left.
Perfect. So well, hopefully some of the people from this webinar join. We had actually a lot of people that had to leave a bit early and asking for recordings. So it's good to know that it's sought out.
Okay, good.
Trip. And we have a few more questions about the actual climbing. So can you tell us? So we had a few questions about trad versus sport climbing. So are most of the routes trad, or like what's the split? Can you tell a bit about that?
Yes, sure. So mostly and in general, we do sport climbing single pitches. So that's the most safe and accessible type of climbing, which could be, of course, can become very hard also, but that's what we prefer to do. Then if there are any special requests, and if our guide is okay with it, then we can also do some trad climbing. But usually where we go, especially like on this trip here that I was presenting, it's everything bolted. So you just need your quick draws, and so that's it. It's like sport climbing. And if you are already like experienced, you can do some multi-pitches, and otherwise the guide will do it with you. Of course, there's during the tour we'll see the level, so we'll check the level first, and then the guide will decide if you can go, or maybe if the guide needs to come with you, and maybe we'll bring you onto a multi-pitch.
And how do you handle like multi-pitch climbing with, you have like one guide on board, and how that works? So you split between guests, or?
Yeah, so what we do is we focus, as I told you, on single pitch climbing, sport climbing, but sometimes like if guests want to really have like want to do a multi-pitch, they are really close by, so maybe the guide will bring one group first, maybe the other one just enjoys the boat and goes out for sailing, and then we do a switch. So maybe one group does some multi-pitch in the morning, the other one does it in the afternoon, and so that's how we managed to do the thing. Yeah.
Cool. And can you, Brad is asking a bit about bolt spacing on the sport climbs, and also about if they're like the routes are polished, are the cracks busy? So like, what's the bolting like, and what's the polish level?
So regarding the spacing between the bolts, how crowded they are, everything it's really good in Sardinia. So they are well bolted and not spaced apart. Especially these climbs, it's I mean, Sardinia, they are developing a lot, so there are so many new sectors and new areas. Some of the ones that I showed you, like Pedralonga, was brand new, so it's they are not polished. The thing that we really need to take in consideration, and that we are very careful about it, is the fact that we are by the sea, and the sea can, the salt from the sea can actually corrode a little bit the bolts. So we constantly checking also with the locals, and we are also into a chat where they update the checks that they've done in the cracks, and which have been rebolted, or the cracks, they tell us the cracks that are not safe anymore to climb on. So we try to avoid those ones and to go only where we have good equipment that we can trust, because that can become dangerous by the sea, and we are trying to avoid any place where bolts are corroded.
Nice. Well, you answered some other questions as well. We actually had this question about corrosion and everything, and there is a question from beginners. If basically, do you do top rope for beginners? So if I'm new to climbing, I presume you probably can take care of that as well. So can you tell a bit more, what do you do with the first time climbers?
Yes, of course. So Alberto is he will set up the routes for the beginners that they want to. So he will set up, he will lead the route, put 1, 2, 3 top ropes, and so it can then be on land and just managing the group and teaching through the ones that are top roping the proper technique. So of course it's something we do, and then maybe you will start like that for the first days, and then maybe you can start to leading on some easy routes. And so there are, of course, both options. The guide is available for you, and he will put up the rope for you, no problem.
Great, great, thanks. And what about if the climbers are experienced? Can they go on their own to climb like multi-pitch stuff or something like that?
Yes, they can. As I told you, we will start. It's long. We will start to climb on the first day, and you can immediately see if someone is experienced, and if the guy says that. So it's something that happens quite often. So it's not a problem. It's an organized tour, but you can also be independent if you know what you do, and if you are if the guide again sees that you know what you're doing and you're good with it, then you can go and do some. Maybe I'll come with you. So the guy stays there, and maybe I will come with you, and if the boat is safe, let's say like that.
Nice.
I will also need to climb sometimes, because I cannot be there and not taking advantage of that amazing rock. Yes.
Perfect. No, perfect. I can understand that. As a climber myself, I can completely understand that. We have a few more questions, I think 2 or 3 more. And Brad is asking also about, like, do people get seasick on the boat, and what are the waters like? So are they pretty calm? So can you tell a bit more about that part?
Sorry, the second question was first seasickness.
Like, do people get seasick, and if the water is calm or like wild?
Okay. So of course we cannot decide how the sea will look like. Regarding seasickness, actually, I'm quite surprised. During all these years, we've started the vertical sailing tour in 2013, and I remember we had one guy puking, and I'm doing like regularly like 8-9 tours. Because sometimes there are 2 boats, so up to 12 groups every year of 10 people. So it's like 120 people a year, and we have one guy puking, and a few felt seasick here and there, but really it's something that because we tend to avoid like long navigations. Sometimes maybe we will have to do them, but by being able to just do short navigations and then go back on land, usually it's not a problem that I find. But of course, if the seats rush and we have no alternatives and we have to move, then we will have to take a little bit rough sea, and it can happen. But really, it's most of the people, they feel fine, especially after the first day. They just get used to being on the boat, and then it's all the week it's fine.
Great. And Sonia is asking what happens if they pay for a tour and then due to the COVID restrictions there is some cancellations, or they can't make it, and so on.
In this case, for if it's because of the COVID and there's the reason it's somehow certified, so you have a COVID test that says that you are positive, your nation has been closed, Italy closes the access, then we, in that case, we will refund you 100%.
Great, thanks. And I actually have one more from the audience, and one last, if I can say for myself. But from the audience is the question was, are solo travelers welcome? And maybe you can tell us, you mentioned a lot of big groups. How often do you get people who just join a boat on their own?
So this is a question that I got asked really often, and I can tell you we have usually there are 2-3 solo travelers every tour, so it's actually quite a lot. So there are lots of people traveling solo, and also they're fitting our tour in the middle of their trip. So maybe they're traveling through Europe, they're traveling in Italy, so they find our experience and they get into it, and so actually quite a lot. 2-3 people for every tour are solo travelers, and they're more than welcome. And what I like to say is that they arrive as a solo traveler, but then they go away with many friends, and so we have actually many of the people which were on board with us. Some of them, they become like close friends, and they keep going and climbing, and like they keep living as a friend after the tour. So maybe I remember a girl from France and another from Austria. They really became friends, and same like in Sardinia right now, we will have these people which have already booked. They are actually coming back from a previous year tour in Kalymnos. So there's a guy from Chile, a girl from Brazil, a guy from Germany, and a girl from Italy, and they're all coming back to be able to see each other again. Yeah, something really which
Perfect. I have to say, Lorenzo, that's probably the best part, the human connection. In the end, it's truly great. And also hearing people coming back to both meet and do the same thing with you is great. And I think that's the perfect way to come to an end of questions. And I do. My own question was actually if you ever visit. I mean, I plan to visit Sardinia hopefully in the next few years. So now I have a new option on the horizon to do it on a boat, probably the best one. And one climbing area that caught my attention was Cala Spinosa, the one that looks like these boulders, but it's huge. Do you visit that one, or that's off route for?
Yes, we visited. It's we will not go there through this tour. Sometimes we pass through another tour. It's again another amazing place. So as you see from the pictures that I've presented, there are many nice places, and there are so many more because Sardinia is quite big. And as I told you, in the far south on a little island, we did even find basalt. So there's that's another tour that we do in Sardinia. Of the east coast, we do the far southwest, and there are two small islands. One is called Carloforte Island, and over there you can find basalt crags. So with like octagon shaped, and you can place camps in there. It's amazing. So yeah, really go to Cala Spinosa and then I will advise you for other cracks for sure.
Perfect. Well, you certainly got me inspired, and I think I'm not the only one. And I think it's a good time to end this. We answered all the questions from the audience, from myself as well. I will say again, thank you, Lorenzo, for sharing this story and the beautiful tour that you do with us and our audience. I want to thank Afar for co-promoting this webinar. The recording will be available on YouTube, I think by Monday the latest, and everyone who signed up will get the email. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, you can check 57hours.com and Lorenzo's tour in Sardinia. Reach out to us or to him directly, and we can connect you with Lorenzo. But if you're ready, you can also book your spot right away with a deposit. Lorenzo, anything you want to say to end the webinar to our audience?
Thank you guys for your time, and I really hope to meet you on board. And we have always, don't be afraid if you are struggling or thinking about who I will find on board. So if someone usually decides to book and come on the vertical sailing tour, it's because he's a climber, or he's just an outdoor lover. He goes out and do some camping. So he's people who decide to participate to this tour, they all have the same mentality and they all match well together. So don't be afraid of who will find on board. Everybody that I had on board, they're wonderful people, and they're really interesting people to meet. So I hope to see you there. So thank you, guys.
I think I should consider it after checking this. Lorenzo, thank you again. Everyone else, stay tuned. We have more webinars coming up. The one on hiking the through hiking the Appalachian Trail is up next, and we have a lot more in store for you starting from early September. So stay tuned for more webinars. Lorenzo, thank you again, and we'll be in touch for sure.
Thank you. Ciao from Italy. Ciao.
Bye.